selfies, how are you all doing? I am doing well, my peace and blessings. I wanted to come today to talk about the self. As you all know, the name Mimi the Self did not just come by just that. It is a divine revelation. It is a divine idea to call my channel Mimi the Self, because to me the self is all I got. The self is all that is, right? With my life experiences, I realized that every relationship eventually will terminate. A relationship between a mother and a child will terminate when death comes. A relationship between husband and wife someday will terminate when divorce comes or when death comes. So nothing is permanent. No other relationship is permanent but the relationship with myself. The relationship with myself is everlasting. It's the most comfortable relationship that I ever experienced. It is till eternity. So that makes it very important for all of us to have a healthy relationship with yourself, and also to prioritize the self and to take care of the self, to love the self, to appreciate the self, to do all these things that you do for other people, and you geared it towards the self. And I will tell you why. When you love the self, when you take care of the self, everything that is outside of the self is basically a projection of the image and the light within. So if the self is loved, it's appreciated, it's taken care of, then your outer world harmoniously mirrored what is inside. So I wanted to make this video a little bit more chit-chatting, a little bit more relaxed, where we can talk about things like, ways to help you to appreciate the self. So here are some questions that I want you to consider asking yourself and see where your relationship with the self is. Please leave me a comment in the comment section below and tell me, how do you feel about your relationship? Are you happy with yourself? Are you happy to be here on earth? Are you comfortable in your own body, within your own mind? Are you able to have conversations with yourself and those conversations are meaningful? Do you feel beautiful, naked or clothed? When you look at yourself in the mirror, are you comfortable looking at yourself in the mirror? Or are you just not comfortable to accept certain things about you, and you are looking for validation from other people? You're looking for approval from other people. You're looking for attention from other people, or you're looking for completion from other people or other things. I mean, is that where we are with ourselves? Or is your relationship with the self so strong and so healthy that if the world ends today and you shall be the only one left standing, are you comfortable to move on this earth and be by yourself and be happy within yourself and be content with everything that comes with the self? Have you ever thought of that? Or are you the type that needs someone else to complete you, something else to complete you? Or is your relationship with the self so strong that without anything you are complete? With everything you're complete? Think about those questions that you ask yourself. Most obviously, the answer will come to you as soon as you ask these questions. That's how the mind works. So Prophet Lao Tzu, in his book Tao Te Ching, he once told us that knowing others is knowledge, but when you know yourself is true wisdom. And if you accept the self, the whole world will accept you. If you love the self, the whole world will love you. If you are content and satisfied with the self, the whole world will be satisfied and content with you. Because all you're doing is that your world is an image of what is inside. So selfies, today I just wanted to have this conversation with you all just to define what the self is. The self is all you got. The self is everything that is. Nobody else. It's all you. Everything else or anybody else is really a reflection of the self. So by working on the self and making the self happy, making the self satisfied, making the self complete, then everything around you will reflect what is inside. Also, if you're not content or complete with the self, you are prone to looking outside of the self for love and for fulfillment, for completion. And Prophet Goddard once says that, by going out looking for love, you are only manifesting your own lovelessness. And the loveless never find love. Only the loving find love. And they don't have to go looking for it or seeking for it. The meaning of that is basically, before we came to this world, we were given love unconditionally. Because God is love and love is God, right? The grace in us, it's basically love, right? So we already have love within ourselves. We just have to wake the love and accept the love that was given to us before we came to this world. But if you feel like you have to look for love from outside of you, then you may be manipulated and you may be hurt. Okay, because in most cases, when people know that your happiness, your fulfillment, or your completion lies in their hands, or they're responsible for these things that you are seeking, then you become a slave and they are the master. And it is not a very comfortable place to be a slave and let somebody be a master just because you're seeking for something. Then the manipulation starts and hurt starts, because now you don't trust the self and you don't believe in the self and you believe in something else or someone else. Then you become a master to that something else or that someone else. Selfies, let's not do that. Let's prioritize the self. Let's put the self as primary. Okay, let's make sure that the self is fulfilled. The self is content. Okay, the self is happy, the self is pampered, is spoiled. Okay, be comfortable with yourself, be gentle to yourself. Every morning, what I do right before I think about work or think about what is for breakfast for the family or everybody else, I cut all that off and I concentrate on myself. I tell myself things that I want to hear. I pamper myself every morning and I feel comfortable with myself before I can make anybody else comfortable. I have to provide for myself before I can provide for anybody else or anything else. Right? So that's what I do every morning. I comfort myself. I'm very gentle to myself. I do not criticize myself anymore. So my suggestion to you, stop the criticism. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop being annoyed with yourself. Accept the whole package of yourself. This is all you got. You are going to take this to eternity. So start to have a healthy relationship with the self. And another strategy that I do to train myself that I'm content with who I am, I go on a date with myself. I dress up nicely, I choose a very nice restaurant, and I go and have a solo date with myself. And I tell myself I'm going on a date with you. You see, and I order nice food, nice drinks, and I enjoy my own company, and I come home and I can have company with the rest. But I always make sure that the self that I'm happy with, because a relationship with myself, it's everlasting, is eternal. It is the most comfortable relationship that I would encourage you to establish. So be content with yourself to the point that you do not need anybody else. You do not need any validation from anyone. You do not need anyone or anything to be happy. You do not need anything or anyone to be fulfilled. Try to establish that type of relationship with yourself and try to be honest with yourself. If you're in a relationship that is torturous, if you're in a relationship that you're not being appreciated, you're not being loved, Be honest to yourself and say this is not the type of relationship you want to stay in and die in. Because people who do not know how to love, you cannot blame them. They probably never had love in their childhood. They probably never had love from their own mothers or fathers. And how do you expect someone like that to love you when they don't have love for themselves? You know, and if you're in a relationship with someone who is jealous, that is insecurity. That person is very insecure about themselves. How can you stay in a relationship with someone who makes you feel like that? So you got to be honest to yourself, and you got to make decisions. But by making decisions is basically believing in the self, trusting the self, because there's an infinite spirit and infinite power that lies within you, that nobody else can give that to you but yourself. And if you trust that power, and if you trust that glory and grace, if you trust that, okay, everything will be okay. Because with God, everything is possible by you, everything is possible for you. But you cannot be in a relationship with someone who is torturing you, who is making you feel less of a person, who is not appreciative of you, who is not loving to you. I mean, it's just in the name of love, which that's not even the meaning of love. But when you love the self, then everything makes sense, and you're not afraid to leave when the time comes to leave. Okay? And when you leave, you are also content and happy. You are fulfilled, and you are able to accomplish a lot of things. Because it's a waste of time to be with someone but you feel lonely within yourself. That is just not a way that you really want to live your life. I hope this conversation helps. Maybe they're a little bit empowering to you. You know, if you have any question or concerns, or you feel like we should talk about each of these things that I put them together, because this is more like a conversation kind of video today. But if you want me to break them down in different videos, like how to empower yourself, how to appreciate yourself, how to do, if you want me to break them down, go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I am happy to help you as much as I can, to empower you, to give you all the resources that I have, and to make you the person that you want to be, not what I want you to be, what you want to be. Just giving you the resources. My peace and blessings. Peace be upon you, and God Almighty's blessings.